Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Behind the Dashboard, where we look under the hood of a specific feature, talking to members of the Catchpoint pit crew who do everything from crank out the code to place the finish line. In each episode, we're going to take an express lane past the technical congestion caused by focusing on speeds and feeds and dive into the conversation to the destination IT practitioners want, discussing what the technology is and what problem it solves. My name is Liana Dotto, and joining me today are two Catchpoint value engineers. First of all, welcome back, Mursi or Mursaline. Welcome back to Behind the Dashboard.
Hi, Leon. It's always a pleasure.
It is. And also, Rahul Raj, thank you so much for joining me today.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, okay. So before we dive into the technology, we are whole humans who have lives and things going on. And I just want to give everyone a chance to be their entire self. Is there anything exciting going on in either of your lives that has nothing to do with Catchpoint or with monitoring or observability? Anything you want to talk about? Upcoming nuptials or children or dogs or going on vacation or anything that you want to talk about?
It's just that the Premier League season is starting, so excited about that. Apart from that, nothing much.
Very good. Raul, anything you want to share?
For me, if it's not work, it's gaming, right? So Assetto Corsa, Forza, everything.
Okay, perfect. There we go. And so you're one of those people who takes like 3 days, 5 days off when a new release comes out just so that you can like get through the entire game, right?
The weekend works for me.
Okay, the weekend. Okay, cool. Oh, so no kids. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Fabulous. All right, so getting into the work, I know it is easy to assume that everybody knows about AI and LLMs and all of that stuff, but I don't want to make that assumption. It is, in fact, an assumption. So there is a lot of misunderstandings and misinformation out there about AI and agentic AI and LLMs and machine learning. So before we go deep into the main part of the subject, can either of you or both of you give a quick explainer and separate the truth from the fiction about what AIs, are doing for us these days?
Absolutely. So, just before we get started, I'd like to just put some views on the screen. So, on the screen itself, when we talk about AI, if we take few steps back, right, we roll into early, I would say, or late 90s. um, the world was just getting introduced to technology, what's a local environment, how to access local servers, and how to get connected. I kind of remember not so early in my childhood, but there were LAN parties that used to take place before everybody used to
Yes.
join some servers.
Yes. And you had
So
your land strap to carry your rig with you. Yes. You're speaking my
exactly,
language.
exactly. So that used to be the kind of the modernized environment back in the day. And later on, with the introduction of web apps, CDN bringing the content closer to you, that was a whole new revolution in itself. And then we relied on so much on search engines to quickly get our answers, get the questions answered, get the formula of an equation or stuff like that, how to solve a mathematical probability. But with the age of AI, the whole dynamics have changed in itself, right? Now it's providing you all that meshed data, all that data which you had to further work on once you got a, you know, 10% of that answer. You had to further work on it and provide some more explanation or maybe some more equations to it. But AI is doing all that for you. So, in terms of what it brings to the table, is in 2025, we have agents, AI agents integrated with everything, whether it's shopping, whether it's banking, every industry is part of it.
Yeah, exactly. And when we talk about LLM these days, the question is no longer what LLMs can do for us. It has become like what is it that they can't do, right? So beyond simple stuff like autocomplete in our Gmail or Outlook, or even chatbots, chat GPTs, Gemini's, right? There are, I mean, the biggest one of the biggest users of LLMs in enterprise environment is the chatbots, right? Is the customer support handling tickets faster than a human could, proactively replying to the customer based on their queries. Productivity is another big one. So when we talk about, I mean, I use ChatGPT, I use LLM models to write emails for me, and even summarize a meeting like this, right? So something like that can be done easily with LLM these days. The benefits of LLM has evolved, dramatically over time. From simple rule-based chat, we have come across to something called a context-based LLM, right? Semantics has come into the picture. Now the AI is capable to understand the difference between commander of chief of US versus the president of US, right? So we have gone a long way from where we started.
Got it. Okay. So, with that background, I think the real question is, why would we need specialized monitoring or observability for our LLMs or AI or the infrastructure for that? And also, I think part and parcel of that is what's the risk of not monitoring? I don't know that when people think about, oh, we need to add, an AI, LLM, a chatbot into our environment, I don't know that they think about, and we better make sure we monitor it because I don't know that we have a sense of what the downside is. So, what what do we need to bring to bear? What are some things to have in mind there?
Absolutely. I mean, it's kind of a wave, right? Earlier, as we talked about in the previous slide, that when CDN was involved, right, all the companies or industries who did not rely on CDN, I'll just take one of those examples. They were not satisfying their customers' needs, the experience their customer used to have. They were all lagging behind. They were switching to their competitors, and competitor is in every industry, right? Banking is not done without having a phone and then kind of pulling your own account and doing all the transactions that you can do at, just sitting at home. So similarly, AI is something that's getting integrated into every industry in itself. You can simply get your questions answered. You can get your stuff pre-delivered with respect to how you put some commands on an AI application, as Rahul mentioned about chatbots, making it a simplified version of, instead of going through PDP, PLP pages, by directly just asking the agent itself to search for this particular product on this particular website, and this is the particular size or quantity, and you know where to send it. Now, when what we have heard so far, as you can see in this slide, is the impact on the revenue. Why would any industry or infrastructure care about it? Because the whole industry is driven by revenue. And when we talk about revenue, AI is something that enhances the experience, because in the world of monitoring, milliseconds matter, right? And in similar terms, for AI to be there to provide that experience, there is a whole background to it. It's all but I would say, a mesh of APIs, taking a prompt and providing an answer to that particular instruction. I would like to share one example here. In this example, you can see a user of one of the AI products, right? They went online and they were not getting the same results from the same instances provided by that particular vendor, right? And then, in a matter of a few escalations, you can see even the leadership were compelled to kind of go online, answer their queries, pull the escalation list internally, because it's AI, right? It's what driving the customers towards you. It's what's attracting the flow of traffic to your industry in itself. But it's all governed by the list of KPIs, right? What are those KPIs? You can just go through that in the next slide.
Right, exactly. And let's say if you have already deployed your LLM, right? How do you measure success? Because it's not just uptime anymore, right? Metrics have gone beyond availability, just availability. Is the response accurate? Is the response relevant? Is the response useful? Right? All of these are taken into consideration. Latency, as usual, is the big one, right? A 2-second delay in a response where a customer is trying to find out what happened with the failed transaction, right? That can have a domino effect on the entire application delivery chain and result in a really bad customer experience, right? And there are new problems that got introduced because of this new integration, right? Something like a hallucination, right? This is when the model confidently responds and acts like a human, right? is I'll give you a simple example. What happens if, let's say, an AI LLM model becomes innovative and invents a new banking policy and responds confidently to you? It'll be a big problem, right? Similar to that, there is another problem that got introduced. I think response drifts. Right? You must have seen that Chat GPTs, Gemini's of the world keep updating their models. Why? Because the response that helped you, the business tip or the advice that helped you in the last quarter might not help this time. Right? So we need to be updated with the answer. The LLM need to be updated. So apart from having just another thing to monitor in an already complex application delivery chain, we also have to monitor, are we accurate, are we misleading, are we relevant, and are we slow? All that has to be taken into considerations.
So I just want to clarify. You're saying that there is a way with monitoring to determine whether your chatbot is giving correct answers, not just that it's responding quickly enough or whatever, but you can monitor for the accuracy of the responses as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. So there is something called semantics. Yeah, like I mentioned before, the query, how similar the two queries are, based on it, the answer would differ, right? All of that is taken into consideration. And even in Catchpoint, we use something called assertions, response assertions, so that you can actually assert the responses based on the type of question you had and the response you were expecting, right? So all that can be done.
That's amazing. Okay, so I'm getting a much better sense of the scope of the problem space and everything. So then I guess the question is, what is it in terms of our overall technical approach? What is it that Catchpoint is bringing to the table? What are we doing to address those gaps?
Yeah, exactly. That's on point. So when we talk about the AI experience, right, we have to make sure that we address the personas. And when it comes to personas, there's a lot of saturation now. Usually back in the day, when you have some issues with your laptop, you go to the IT. But right now, there are a lot of other things that you can do now without going to the IT directly. There are agents sitting on your laptop itself doing the work in the back end, sending the telemetry to the teams. Now, when it comes to the AI reliability, these are some of the pillars that we address with respect to any technology, right? When you talk about CDN, when you talk about the backend infrastructure, overall delivery chain. In the world of AI, reliability, resilience is very important. How we address that is, as Rahul mentioned, few of the points about the assertion, the quality of the response, right? When I share it with few of my customers in a very basic terms, it's like when you give a chef a recipe, right, or multiple chefs a same recipe, and then they deliver on that particular thing. You then judge what sort of taste that brings to you. If it's similar, if it's different, if it's of different measures, right? How do you measure that? And that measurement is done at the end of the day using the technology that's in place. With Catchpoint, we have this AI experience captured with respect to our API flows or the playwright flows that we have in place. We also have agents that get integrated with these chatbots and so on and so forth. They play the role of mimicking those agentic responses and prompts, so we can not just rely on how a human traffic is hitting the infrastructure, but keep on generating that traffic proactively to provide those benchmarkings and measurements.
Right. And when we talk about agentic AI, right, it's like a F1 pit crew. It's not just the driver, it's the car, it's the fuel system, it's the engine, all of it running together, right? So we are not just talking about one chatbot or one model. It's the complete underlying architecture. One model talking to another, and then making use of API, and then the entire internet architecture, obviously in between, right? So resilience here means not just making sure that the AI is available, that the AI piece is available, but also entire ecosystem is available. I mean, we'll talk about this in the maybe upcoming slides or further discussion. Something like a Catchpoint stack map view, right? The holistic view where you get the entire ecosystem in the picture, right? So that is essential more than ever now. And then obviously, even when we go and buy a car or rent out a car, right, we look at multiple factors. What's the ground clearance, what's the mileage, all that. So we have to do the same thing. We have to look through the same scope when we go for a LLM product, right? We look at cost, we look at all the metrics. It's not just that I'm getting the relevant response from this LLM. Am I getting it cheaper elsewhere? That question also has to be answered. That is where benchmark comes into the picture. That I'm getting all the responses, but am I getting it cheaper from this particular LLM? So that also needs to be monitored.
Very cool. All right, so we've talked about the theory and our approach. We can see this, right? Like right now, there's you've got stuff to show me. He asked, setting up the demo that we have thought about a lot.
Absolutely. So it's time
Good.
for the big revelation. So let me switch to my screen. Now, when we talk about the engagement with what we just talked about, the agentic AI, the LLMs, because when we monitor all these end-to-end flows for our customers, we have to make the data consumption easier for them, right? In terms of what they're looking at, how we can paint an end-to-end flow. As Rahul mentioned, there isn't just one model that is supporting your chatbot or maybe any assistant that's part of your page itself. There are underlying LLMs, there are proxies in place. So, in this case, in this particular stack map, as you're looking at it, there's an end user that's interacting with multiple LLM models, in this case, for example. And there are underlying APIs. And this, like, if we take this three hop approach, each hop, and in reality, there are multiple other hops. They induce latency. We have to understand at which hop, how much latency or processing time or fetch time is required, right? When we compare this particular view to a CDN, right? Rahul and I have worked on a lot of CDN vendors where we provide telemetry in how the delivery chain actually works. It's not just a wait time, a boiled down version of how CDN works, but there's origin, there's mid mile, there's parent, and there's proxies, there are load balancers. So, this is a kind of a view that paints that picture for you. And in this particular dashboard, you're looking at much more greater telemetry in terms of availability, in terms of data consumption, in terms of overall visibility from across the globe, right? And then you can also baseline the data. And over a period of time, how you can pre populate and show the engagement per LLM from your agentic AI, and then use that data to remodel how the optimizations should be applied.
Yep. I'll talk about this one. So this was a really interesting use case that we had with one of our customers, wherein they wanted to know how is their in-house LLM model stacking up against the big players in the market, right? ChatGPT's, Gemini in this case, Cloud as well. And in this view, we were basically able to help them not just on the availability numbers, right? But also how is the response time or the wait time or TTFP for their LLM responses versus the other LLM models. Not just that, we can also monitor the response sizes as well, right? And that is very important. As you know, all the responses basically correlate with the utilization that you are having backend with your LLM models, right? So if let's say my LLM model is giving out responses for 2 MB and the other one is giving out 5 MB, I would prefer that 2 MB response if the context remains the same. So that data is also available with this. This was another one. We see this adoption happening day in, day out with a lot of organizations, right? Let's say I own a e-commerce site or I'm an architect in an e-commerce site. And my job is to update pricing models for during every Black Friday or a sale event, right? I have to update prices for all categories of product. What I'll do in that case is, normally I would basically push the code to GitHub, then make all the changes, make sure that those changes are reflected, and also then update all the monitoring models so that they start tracking the new prices or the new system that I just uploaded, right? We are seeing this adoption wherein clients are using MCP or the MCP model here, wherein they'll use a MCP client and server type architecture, wherein they'll just explain what they want, and the AI would basically make all the changes for them, first of all. They'll also, the AI MCP client will also, in this case, talk to the Terraform integration and update all the monitoring setup as well, right? So in this case, this was the entire ecosystem that I mentioned earlier, right? You just not have to monitor the AI piece or the Google Bard, the MCP server in this case, but the entire ecosystem altogether.
Absolutely. And when we look at the broader picture, right, we saw this integration, we saw this automation, an AI agent can deliver. Now, if we look at an end to end picture, right, because let's talk about an example of an application which an end user is interfacing with, starting right here. It goes to the DNS, it goes to the CDN. There are a lot of third parties involved. It goes to the origin, and then there are backend APIs and underlying services. Now, if you see this AI core piece, this was not there, right? If I tell you like 1 year back, this was not something that piqued customers' interest. But now we have to make it a core part of the end to end flow. That's where StackMap really paints the picture for the end users to have this data in a much more easier, like consumable format. And the overall goal here is with respect to visibility into DNS, delivery chain, third parties, the SaaS model they rely on, all that good stuff, right? Is to lower down your mean time to detect, is to lower down your mean time to resolution. And StackMap is brilliantly working for our customers and the teams, sister teams, and so on and so forth to reduce that.
Okay, this was fabulous. It was also a lot, and I know you can go deeper. I know, Mursi, the other day you were showing me the actual code behind how those screens and how that data was being collected, and we're going to get into that a different time. I want to take us to what I call the lightning round. This is just any final thoughts, anything that you want to leave people with, and I'm going to start off by saying. Um, I did not know that there was a way to monitor the accuracy of the answers. So now, whenever an LLM is giving me like bad information, I am holding the organization personally responsible for lying to me about that because they're not monitoring it well enough to know that it's giving bad data. I also want to say that I just read like 15 minutes before we started recording this that now LLMs are giving hallucinated data on gaming hints. People playing games that want to know how to like get past a particular level. It's hallucinating entire things. And I think this is the end of LLMs as we know it. I think the gamer community is going to absolutely riot unless they fix this. So those are my final thoughts. Rahul, anything that you want to leave everyone with? Any final ideas?
Yeah, the big takeaway, I mean, from all the sessions that I had recently, the big takeaway is for me is that we should have the same discipline for AI in terms of monitoring as we had for other, critical application delivery chain components, right? And even more, we should have more guardrails for AI. To be honest, the reason why I say that is because let's say at this point, if I at 3 a.m. in the morning, I want to book a cab, I want to book a Uber, I know that it is going to work, right? I don't have the same level of confidence with AI at this day and age right now, right? So we need to have more guardrails, and safety net around AI component in the application delivery chain, right? And it'll come eventually, but till that time comes, we need to make sure the SLA is not just uptime, is the accuracy, is the latency, is the hallucination, is the all the components that we talk about, including the cost metrics as well.
Nice. All right, Mercy, bring it home. Final
Yeah,
thoughts.
exactly. So I would just wrap it up with it's the first step. The first step on the moon, the first step in LLM is the same thing. So we have to be very cautious. We have to experience it and also explore it, not simply adapt to it. Because if we just simply adapt to it without exploring the goods, the bads, and how your industry blends with it, right? And we have to tailor it to your own services, to your own resources, so it can better cater to your end users' requests. Because at the end of the day, they are the ones that are generating the revenue, that are helping the business, that are helping you talk with your vendors, pushing them on the limits. As Rahul mentioned, SLAs, right? Everything has SLAs, SLOs, and in Catchpoint we call it XLOs, which is the experience. So that is where I'll end it with, and yeah, looking forward to another one.
Very good. All right. Well, I know you're both very busy helping customers actually fix things, so I really appreciate you taking time to share this with me today. Thank you again.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ian.
I also want to take a moment to thank all of you for watching this episode. It's no exaggeration to say that there is an overwhelming amount of technical content for you to choose from, and here at Catchpoint, we appreciate the time you've carved out for us. If you'd like to get notified when new episodes drop, remember to use the subscribe button below. For Behind the Dashboard and everyone at Catchpoint, I'm Leon Adato.